Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Kiara. On my channel we discuss anything mental health related, anything that I find is important to discuss. I'm so sorry I haven't made a video for a bit. It's just like I try to do weekly and I was able to do it for a bit, but now I'm just trying to I just have a lot going on in my life at the moment. So bear with me. If you can't tell, I'm exhausted. There's been a lot of changes, as you can tell. Even my setup, I have my Buddha in the back of me. So I'm all about spirituality. I've gotten into that a lot. Just meditation and things that I need to survive, because it's just been hectic and I am just exhausted and I apologize. But yeah, I live somewhere else now. I'm living in Dorchester at the moment. So I mean, I love my room. I feel like there's more space and yeah, I'm excited about my setup. I'm hoping to have like little lights eventually in the back. But yeah. So let's dive in. Today I wanted to discuss, I know Suicide Prevention Month is coming to a close. Obviously I mean to a close because it's Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, but in September is almost over. But it does not mean we should stop talking about it. I'm huge about mental health advocacy, suicide prevention, so these conversations are never over. It's not just because it's September that we're talking about suicide prevention. This is a year-round thing. But I definitely wanted to make this video specifically for Suicide Awareness Month. I know sometimes it's really hard to know warning signs or to know if someone's going through something. And I know the last video I made, it was more about kind of how to deal and know when there's something wrong with you. But sometimes it's not even us going through something. You may have a friend that may be going through something, or a family member. You may not even know that they're going through something. So it's really important to be aware of the signs. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of like how those signs were really prominent in my own life. And there were things that I thought were normal, but they're not. So if you know anyone who talks to you about these signs that I will discuss in a bit, or if you just realize that something's just not right, it's probably not right. Things are probably not okay with them, so it's probably best to speak to them and let them know that there's help out there. Your job as a friend or as a family member is not to fix people, but it's to get them help, you know. And not everyone's open to getting help, and that's okay, but at least being aware. And I did see a quote that really stuck out to me, where it says Suicide Prevention Month is kind of corny because we've made it revolve around people reaching out to others to make sure they're okay. And there's more to suicide prevention than that. There's a lot of issues when it comes to mental health. You know, people's access to therapy. You know, if you don't have health insurance, it's really hard to even seek a therapist. And it's sad because people should be having access to these resources. But unless you have, you know, let's say if you don't have health insurance, you're paying out of pocket, which is a lot of money. So there's a lot of issues that the government itself has to fix in order for there to be any kind of improvement when it comes to mental health. And I'm well aware of that. And I will make a video eventually talking about all those things, because there's more to suicide prevention than just reaching out to your friends to make sure they're okay. There's way more to it. But this video I do want to focus on those warning signs, whether you are that person who is dealing with these signs or if you're someone who knows somebody. So I would say one of the main prominent signs is when someone is just always talking about how like, I know for me, and talking about my personal experience, I always felt like I was a burden to people. And I always felt like the world would be better off without me. And I always felt that way. And I would find myself having these conversations with myself, like, you know, no one's going to care if you're gone. You're honestly more of a burden to these people than anything else. And I think that in itself is really sad for someone to feel that way, because of course now I know that I matter and I'm not at all a burden, but it takes a lot to get there and get out of that space, when you're in such a negative mindset like that. Another thing is kind of like, if you see someone who's losing interest, isolating themselves, a lot of the signs I'm going to mention right now is a lot of it with depression as well. Depression is known to be a huge cause of suicide. So I know for me, the reasons I wanted to kill myself and end it all was because of my depression. I had major long-term depression, and I still do. And it's a battle every single day. But at that point in my life, I just didn't want to go out with friends. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted to be alone so that I could cry, so that I could just be in the dark, because somehow it felt good. I hate it now. I would never do that now. But at that point in my life, I just rather be in that setting, because I was so sick and tired of pretending to be happy and pretending to enjoy things that I just didn't find enjoyment in. But I was, I'd be out with my friends and my mind would be somewhere else. So I definitely feel like that, like not being interested or not finding pleasure in things anymore. Also, if, I would find myself researching, and this is going deep into it. I feel like this is when you need help, is when I started researching, ways to hurt myself, ways to kill myself, just really finding pleasure in just the concept of death. And it was scary, and now that I look at it, it wasn't normal at all. And I feel like if you constantly think about these things, it's definitely a red flag. Or if you know someone who constantly talks about death or how they're better off being dead or stuff like that, definitely it's a red flag. So that's huge. So I would say that if you feel like something's not right, or you feel like, just things are off with yourself or with someone, I think we already know if something's off. But being aware is one thing, and taking action is another. I was well aware that I was depressed, suicidal, but it took me a while to take action. And we're talking about not action like, because you can take action in the sense of hurting yourself, killing yourself, harming yourself, but I mean taking action in the sense of bettering yourself, seeking help, just knowing when things are not okay and when to reach out to somebody. It doesn't always have to be reaching out to a professional, although I strongly encourage that. But I get it, not everyone's ready to have those conversations. But even reaching out to a friend, to someone you trust, is huge and helped me a lot through my journey. I think also just abuse, drug, alcohol abuse is huge as well. It's another huge sign, is if you see someone's just, constantly using alcohol, using drugs to escape their reality, because they feel like that escape, it's all about the escape. People don't just wake up and want to kill themselves. It's about an escape. That the idea of, wow, I could just escape my problems right now. And sometimes it starts off through addictions, before it gets to that level. you know, suicidal ideation, you know, taking action. And want, you know, it's not like you just wake up one day and kill yourself. It literally, it takes levels to get there. So a lot of people, it's common that you see people taking advantage of drugs and alcohol to escape their reality, because it's all about the escape. It's all about not having to deal with your problems, because your problems just seem too much, too painful, and you just want to get rid of the pain. So that's huge. So if any one of those signs that you know, you see any one of those signs, they're huge red flags. And again, they are hand in hand with depression. So not always are people with depression suicidal. I want to make that clear. That's not true. But a lot of times depression is the cause of suicide. So just being aware of that, educating yourself, because you never know what someone's going through. There's so many people out there, and you will never know everyone's story. But I think just being considerate, not taking things to heart if your friend doesn't reach out all the time, because we all have issues, trust me. I sometimes feel bad because I don't reach out to my friends as much as I wish I could, but I'm just, my life is a lot right now. We all go through a lot. But I think it's necessary for ourselves to know when we're not okay. Again, it's not your responsibility to fix people. But I think our responsibility as people is just to take care of ourselves and take care of others when you can. Do what you can. Don't put that responsibility on yourself, because it isn't your responsibility either. Definitely knowing your resources. And like I said, I know not everyone has access to these resources out there, and it's sad, but just knowing that there are hotlines you can call, and that there are people who will listen, and that, you know, you are not alone. You're not in this battle alone. I can't stress that enough. There were many times where I just thought I was alone, and you're not. Knowing that there are people just like you dealing with the same things, the same demons, and it does not make you weak to be in such a vulnerable place. And I had to learn to accept that. I had to learn that, you know, my past is my past, but I'm here today, and I thank God every single day for that, for giving me the opportunity to share what I know now. And trust me, as I know I've said this tons of times, that things do get better, but they do, because I'm living proof that it does. And I just want you to know that if you're watching this and you have gone through what I've gone through and you can relate, just know that I am so happy. I am so grateful that you are still here today, because you deserve to be here as much as anybody else, even when your mind tries to trick you into thinking that you're not meant to be here. So thank you so much, and thank you for still being here. So I'm sending all my love. Again, yes, this September is Suicide Prevention Month, but this is a conversation we need to continue to happen, because people don't just end their lives in September. They think about this all year round, okay? And these are conversations that matter. These are conversations that need to happen, even if they're uncomfortable, even if people don't feel comfortable talking about these heavy topics. We all deal with shit, and these conversations should never end. So I love you all. Love you, warriors.